people. So if I had all the money in the world, I would just be volunteering all the time. Like throughout my whole life, my father always taught me that even if you don't have money, just do something nice for somebody. So that's what I've always done. I've fed the homeless. I've, volunteered at hospitals. I've even like read for kids at the library. So I've done just different things that always humbled me.
Yeah.
So it's like if I felt like I really needed to humble myself, I would just help other people. And I just love that. I love that about being in the hospital. The only thing is that I also feel like I do have talents where I don't want to be in the hospital 12 hours a day and then feel so tired that I can't pursue my singing. Like a lot of people don't even know like I play piano because I haven't had time to really perfect what I feel like I'm good at,
Yeah. So speaking of your dad, I'm curious to know like what your relationship with your family is like today.
So growing up, I did not get along with my parents. I didn't want to listen at all. I thought I was grown. Yeah, I thought I was grown. Like being 13, I thought I was 30, you guys. I'm not joking. But I felt like as I got older and me and my parents started to like get to know each other, because my parents had me late. My mom and dad had me in their 40s.
Okay.
But when I got older, I felt like I became really close to them to a point where I could tell my mom and dad anything. And they are so loving to me and so accepting to me. So my relationship is really good. Like my dad and I, when I do visit, we will probably go to church. My dad likes to make like these nasty sandwiches. Is literally like Santa Claus. I'm not joking. Like he has like the whole beard going on, blue eyes. You wouldn't think he's my dad.
Really?
Yeah. And then my mom, she's like a very strong black woman, and you wouldn't think she's my mom either, because like they just look so totally different than me. And my mom, she's a huge influence in my life because she's went through a lot in her life, and she's always been so strong for her family. And she's came from poverty, and now she has like a solid foundation in her life, and I'm so proud of her.
Yeah. So considering you're super family oriented, and I've known this forever, what was it like making the transition of seeing your family 30 minutes away from LA, which is where you guys used to be established, to moving to Houston?
It was really hard to not be around my family when I decided to move to Houston. But I felt like the reason why I moved from LA to Houston is to grow as a person. I felt like I was always depending on my parents at that point, because as a teenager, I always was so distant from them that as an adult, I tried to make up for that time. So I felt really like guilty for that. But now that I'm older, I realize that my parents are like in their late 60s. I want to be able to give them a good retirement. So I feel like in Houston, I'm more focused. I feel like I could start my family here. And as much as I hate to leave my parents behind, I know that eventually when I'm solid, we'll reunite and I'll be able to help them.
Yeah, I'm sure they're really supportive of everything and anything you do.
Very. Oh my gosh, extremely supportive.
So going back to your music, I know you sing. I mean, you have literally the voice of an angel. I've heard it every day. You do music, or I'm sorry, you play the piano. Is there any other instruments that you play, or is it just the singing and the...
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple chords on the ukulele, but yeah, piano is like my favorite instrument.
Is there, like, are we gonna expect like a single or more covers coming out? Or
So I feel like I need to be patient and just think of what project I want to do next. Right now, I really want to just focus on my social media, since I've kind of been slacking on that for a while since I was in nursing school. So you can expect me to have like a lot of more videos, particularly on my channel, because you guys know that Nate posts every day. But on my channel, I'm definitely going to be rebranding myself. I'll have new pictures up, and I will have music out, but I don't know how soon. I literally have like so many songs I've written, and I just haven't put them out there because I'm not ready yet.
Yeah. And that's just something that you'll know when you're ready type
Yeah,
thing.
it's just time. I feel like you can't be great at everything. You kind of have to pick one thing at a time and try to perfect it the best possible. So right now that's building my social media.
Yeah, and by your social media, you mean your YouTube? Your
Yeah, so
Instagram.
my YouTube channel, my Instagram, I want to be able to be like more personable with my supporters. I feel like sometimes I don't really post as much, and I kind of feel bad for that because they are my family.
Mm-hmm. So, going to your relationship with Nate, give us like a little, what's that like? Like, when did you guys realize you were in love? Like, when did you guys move in together? Like,
Our relationship's very strange because most people aren't like us. The day I met him, I practically moved in his house.
really?
Yeah, so I mean, we had been talking for a while, like on the phone and stuff, but we weren't intimate. Like we were just friends.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I moved in, and we still weren't dating. So it was very interesting, like how that dynamic worked. But I realized I was in love with him. Honestly, it sounds cliche, but the day I met him, like I didn't want to leave his side.
Yeah, so like love at first sight type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as a couple, you know,
Yeah.
being under like the eye of social media, like what are some obstacles you guys have had to face together?
I feel like one of the biggest obstacles, which isn't a secret, is my revenge porn, because no man wants to see their significant other be intimate with somebody else in a video. And that was in the beginning of a relationship, so that was like 2 years ago. But I feel like that definitely took a toll on a relationship because it made me a little insecure. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it made me more secure in our relationship because he still stayed with me and he still supported me throughout the whole process.
Yeah, you guys just bounce back
Yeah,
stronger. I
right
assume.
back. It does not bother me. It does not faze me. And if you guys didn't see, I did do a special on it on MTV, and hopefully other girls who went through the same thing I did could look at that episode and feel like they're not alone.
Yeah, which is important. I think it's really important for you to do that.
Yeah.
So the day that you saw that, like
Yeah.
what was it like? Like for someone who has never gone through it, or for girls who have gone through it, and guys.
Nate woke up before I did that day and showed me. He said, "Hey, somebody showed me this." And I literally felt like it was the end of the world. I wanted to die. I felt worthless. And I panicked. I had an anxiety attack. He had to calm me down.
Yeah.
And then I pulled myself together and realized that this person clearly put out my revenge tape to hurt me. And if I showed that I was upset, it would just make things worse. And it did. There's times where I'd get upset and I didn't know how to react to it. And that's exactly what the person who leaked it wanted. They wanted me to be upset. So the moment that I started making it into a positive thing is when it became a more positive influence in my life and my supporters' lives.
Yeah. So to give your viewers, like someone who has gone through this,
Yeah.
what are some steps? Like what's some advice you would give to, like, you know, get better? The situation will move on, because like you said, you felt like it was the end of the world.
Yeah, I feel like our world is changing. In the state of California, it's against the law to leak those images, any sexy pictures or
Yeah.
sexy videos. So it's against the law. I'm not quite sure what it's like throughout the world, but I really feel like it's important to stand up for yourself and realize that you're a victim. Just because you trusted somebody and they betrayed your trust doesn't mean you're a bad person. They're the bad person. You're the victim. So I feel like just have a support system. Know that you shouldn't hurt yourself because somebody else hurt you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, a lot of women, I'm sure, have tried to kill themselves. They've tried to harm themselves because they were bullied. This is bullying.
Yeah, it's a very serious.
Leaking somebody's images is bullying. So I feel like, especially in high schools, I've had so many girls come to me after my episode and after what had happened to me and tell me like, thank you so much. This is going on to like with me as well. I'm in the 8th grade or I'm in the 12th grade. These are children. Yeah. I'm an adult, so imagine what it's like to be a child. You know, yeah. Even in our own backyard, you don't know, that could have been your sister.
Exactly.
You know, so I feel like it's really important to educate our children about this.
So, what, like, did your family say anything? Like, I'm sure they knew about it. Like, what was their reaction like?
It was very emotional. My parents, my dad cried to see his little girl hurt so much.
Yes, of course.
And it doesn't hurt me as much that somebody hurt me. It's more that they hurt my family, because I love my dad so much, and to hear that my dad was crying when he found out just breaks my heart.
And did you ever like think of, or I don't know what the situation was like, confronting who leaked this or who wanted to hurt you? Like,
I see, it's hard too, because I'm a social media influencer, so I knew publicly confronting them could give them clout, and I didn't want to give them clout. Mm-hmm. So I decided to step down on legal action. As much as I wanted to sue them, I'd rather them not be notorious for leaking my sex tape.
Yeah, there wasn't like a phone call or anything like you.
Oh, there were phone calls. There were phone calls. I had lawyers, everything. But then I was like, this is kind of sucking the life out of me. Every time I had to talk about it.
You want to move on from this.
I just want to move on. And like I said, I'm not trying to give anybody no free clout.
So I did actually see your episode on the True Life, and I honestly didn't know about it. Like, I was in Hawaii and I saw your episode, and it kind of gave me like a different, because I wasn't too informed in it, it gave me like a different perspective. Like, wow, like this hurt her. How did they even approach you on all that?
So somebody that I knew personally had heard about it, and they had MTV contact me, and I became really close with the producer. At first, I didn't want to do it. I told him, no, this is gonna make everything worse. I was so like ashamed. And the more I got to know like the producer, and I got to know like the whole, basically like their whole team, I realized they wanted to help me.
Yeah.
They wanted to make sure that they helped little girls, little boys, adults. Everybody tried to understand this, because a lot of people think of, you know, they think of people whose stuff was leaked as like people who are hoes, or, like,
yeah.
Or they think that people are like really promiscuous. But regardless if you think I'm a hoe or you think I'm promiscuous, my ex did this to me. And this was somebody I trusted.
Yeah.
So you could have any opinion you want about me, but just know that it's still wrong, you know? So that's my whole point. And they really depicted that in a good way. Like, at first, my parents didn't want me to do the MTV True Life. But then after seeing it, they realized that it was definitely
inspiring.
More, inspiring and more positive than they thought it would be.
Yeah, like, you are a voice for people that, you know, are going through something similar like this. It's really inspiring.
And I will say, the producer for True Life, she was so just supportive throughout the whole process that to this day, she'll randomly text me and ask me how my day's going and how I feel. And that's so amazing. You don't get that. Like, she wasn't money hungry, you know?
Yeah, which is really important. Women supporting women.
Yeah.
What is your view on that?
Women empowerment, I feel like it's so strong. I feel like I'm pro everything. I feel like, girl, if you want to get your boobs done, go get your boobs done. If you want to be natural, girl, go be natural. If you know, I feel like if you go through anything in your life and you feel like people judge you for it, then they're wrong for that. Because as long as you're doing something that's not going to hurt other people, I'm all for women empowerment, and that means just being yourself.
Yes, exactly. And I noticed that, like, your outro in your videos now is what?
You a boss.
See?
I know it's so. When I say it now, I'm like, dang, this is kind of low key cringe, but I'm keeping it.
No, it's you know what I mean. Like I said, really inspiring, and sometimes people need to like hear that, especially like your audience that I know support you and want to hear these, you know, amazing things that you have to say, which is important. I feel like you're doing everything spot on, like right.
Yeah, I love women. I literally do, and I don't say it enough, and that's why I really want to focus on my women audience. You guys will see I'll do more things for my women audience because, girl, trust me, anything you went through, if you're watching me right now, any of my supporters, like anything you went through, chances are I probably know how it feels to go through what you went through. If it's heartbreak or other women judging you, you know, how guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a great guy, but I know how it is to go through something, and I definitely want to go through that with my audience.
Yeah. So, do you feel like on your channel you're gonna open up a lot more, like have these serious conversations?
Yes.
Which I feel like is important to have. That's the whole premise of this show, is to, you know what I mean, like make people feel not so alone. Because
Exactly.
when people don't talk about it, when you see people on social media or on YouTube living this luxurious grand life, what they think, they don't know behind the scenes. And
Well, I like how you said that. Like, they're like, oh, this girl, she has everything. She doesn't know how it is to struggle. I realize that the more that I'm honest with my viewers about who I am and what I went through, the more that nobody could expose me.
yeah,
So yeah, I went through that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You have to have that. Yeah, I'm just gonna own everything. There's a video where somebody tried to sabotage me because I used to work at a club. Okay, yeah, I worked at a club. You know what I mean? Like, I just really feel like it's important to just own up to anything you went through and embrace it.
Exactly.
So nobody could try to make a video saying, oh, Michaela is such a bad person. This is what she kept from you guys.
Yeah, because we've already like said it. And
I already
you're
said
loud
it.
and proud.
That's why I'm an open book.
Exactly. It's important, you know. So Michaela and Nate, 5 years from now, like where do you see yourself?
Hopefully with 2 children.
You're like 2.
Well, I want 4.
Oh.
But we'll say at least 2 children already in the next 5 years. Hopefully living in Houston here in a house of our own.
So for your own brand, like your career,
Yes.
where do you see that?
So for my career, I would love, like I said, to be an entrepreneur. I have a lot of things that I've been working on and thinking about, and hopefully they could definitely come true once I'm more established in my career as a social media influencer and a registered nurse.
All right, well, I personally think your story is really inspiring. I mean, I've told you this a million times, like when we hang out and talk and such. But thank you so much for sharing, you know, your story and being here today. So now we're gonna go over to like the fan questions. We're gonna pick some.
I'm so nervous, you guys. Please don't embarrass me for the questions you guys ask.
We have a few questions from people that asked on social media, and Ibra Imali _19. I'm sorry if I butchered that wrong. Are you planning to be a singer even though you have a beautiful voice?
I would like to do some things. I'll probably release some music by the end of the year. At least one song by the end of the year. Like I said, I have songs, I just have not released them because I'm still trying to find myself, you know?
Yeah. So Trish and Guyan, sorry, I'm like butchering these so bad. I'm so sorry. How did your journey of becoming a social influence come about?
I would say meeting Nate, falling in love with him and falling in love with what he did and wanting to be more like him.
Yeah.
But in my own way.
Oh, he's inspiring.
Honestly, I look up to my boyfriend a lot. He was definitely a positive influence in my life.
Yeah. So Lincoln Boy 95, what do you like about Houston?
Nothing.
Other than me, of course.
Oh, you. I'm just joking. I I like Houston. It's a lot different. I feel like it's a whole nother country. Like, people be walking and with guns in their pockets like it's normal. Like, it was crazy. Like, I held a gun for the first time. You can't do that in Cali. Like, I would say the thing I love the most about it is the people. The people are very humble here, and I love the food, even though it's really hard to keep my weight down sometimes. I'm currently sucking in, but yeah, the food and the people are amazing. But I hate there's like something called a tree roach. For people in California, they got tree roaches. Like, it's not just dirty houses that have roaches. It's tree roaches. They're in the trees, and they come down, and they're like this big. Saw one in my house, and I wanted to move.
But they're everywhere, man. They out here.
Yes.
All right, girl. Well, thank you so much for being on the show
Yes.
again. You guys, make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Obviously, subscribe down below, like this video, and comment down below anybody else you would like to see us interview next on Behind the Likes TV. Bye.
Bye.